everybody. Tonight we will go deep into the realm of the unknown and question everything as we search for the truth. We will explore the possibility of countless phenomena within the ultra-spectrum, and together we will learn that it is all connected. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association, and it is a live stream broadcast. If you have a question, send me a super chat or become a YouTube member. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. Take a seat, relax, get ready, and welcome to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. Today is Thursday, June 30th, 2022, and I, Ryan Stacey, am your host this evening. Tonight, I'm wearing a special hat from the Leak Project, which was sent to me all the way, I think, from Texas, from Rex. And I have the hat. I told you to be here. You better be here. I'm wearing it, and what better to have this Marty McFly hat than this Back to the Future t-shirt, so totally repping it. So you can get hats like this from the Leak Project. If you like this hat, thank you so much for this hat, Rex. This is awesome. I love it. Thank you. I'm a licensed private investigator, a citizen journalist, and the director of investigations for the Experiencers Support Association. I'm the former national chief investigator for MUFON Canada and the former international field investigator trainer for MUFON in general. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining us this evening. Do super chat, click the $ next to your name in the comment box below. Tonight's theme is UFO/paranormal research, and we have a reoccurring guest, Rich Giordano. And I am excited for this because, we're going to talk some shit because it's been a while since we've talked, and we kind of went separate ways, but not because we had issues, just because we were dealing with the same shit in different ways. So I think tonight's going to be kind of good to kind of figure out where we all went off. And then we're just going to kind of round up and be like, what the hell's going on? And then this might get heated, but not between us, but just, to those that just might have an issue with me talking to this fellow or this fellow talking to me. So, this is going to be good. I'm excited for this. So Rich hosts the GUFON Channel. GUFON means the Giordano's UFO Network. You can find his channel only on YouTube. Rich is a boots-on-the-ground UFO paranormal researcher since 2004 and has been a radio personality since 2006. Rich has pioneered the most original pod show this genre has ever enjoyed. The show is based off of Rich's own experiences in this field. Rich exposes the charlatans as well as the teaching debunking techniques on videos, as well as body language techniques for those storytellers, which I'm interested in as well. I always love that. I can do that too. Call the shit when you see it. GUFON is a show that is constantly mutating, a serious show with a slice of comedy from a host who leaves it all on the table. On the GUFON channel, Rich shares his real thoughts, spoken in real time, and offers what he's learned from experience to tell you how to figure out what's the truth for yourself. You can find him on YouTube, so just search the GUFON radio stream, and you can also find him on Twitter. Rich, put on your tinfoil hat. How are you doing this evening?
I got it. It's up right on underneath this hat. Yep, I got it. I'm doing good.
Good.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming back. We don't do the reoccurring guests that often, but I'm excited. This is good. How you been?
You had to do your own thing earlier in the year, I think it was, right?
Yeah. The last time we talked was just before the Who's Lou documentary came out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. a lot of shit has happened since then.
How long ago was that?
I don't know. Long enough that we could talk about it.
I think it was in January, February. It's been long enough, yeah. A lot of things have happened.
So there's a lot of prep going up to that documentary. From my perspective, being quiet about it, helping out. You helped out. Others had helped out about it. It came out. People had problems. People agreed, do all these other things. But it came at this big, huge fucking shitstorm. But then now, so many months later, it's just kind of subsided and it kind of like served a purpose, in my opinion. So, what's how you been? How's that been for you? What's new?
Sucks.
It sucks?
Yeah, it sucks. Everything sucks. This whole year sucks because people suck in this community. They backstab you. They make believe they're your friends. They want to know what you're about, so they fake their friendship to get shit out of you. But I'm pretty good at not telling people things I don't know.
Right.
So I never divulged my secrets to these people, but that's what it is. That's what's going on. And one person who was a friend just recently lied, faked a UFO video, and then said it was just a demonstration of what he captured, trying to talk his way out of it. It's just one. Yeah, it is so bad. I wound up getting 12 strikes against my channel, won them all back. Had to start another channel as a backup because of these haters who falsely strike me, including Richard the dickhead Dolan, who is now really, I've got eyes on him all the time. And this Dolan is a fraud. He's a big asshole and a fraud, and I don't like the guy. And he hasn't brought anything new to this community in 20 years other than himself and Stacey, his wife or ex-wife, who is beautiful, by the way. And
Tracy.
I think she's with the wrong dick. She needs to be with me. But other than that, I am very angry at this whole community right now. Just about everybody.
Well, oh boy. So you're starting it off that way. So I
have no choice. You asked.
Yeah, let's get into that. So I like Richard from my perspective. It's evident that you may have information that I'm not aware of. Richard has helped me in many ways. He started me out on this project. He plucked me from MUFON. He gave me opportunity to be heard. He listened to me, and it gave me the encouragement to do the things that I've done. And to this day, I feel grateful for the opportunity that I got from Rich. But I haven't been following him to the point to be able to verify and fact check all these other things. And my perspective from Richard Dolan is he's just commenting on the same shit that we're dealing with too. And I kind of feel like he's on the side of like, none of the shit that we're being told is actually going on. So apart from that, your perspective, with the things that you said, what evidence what had happened? What proof, elaborate on that.
He striked my channel.
Because of what? What did you say?
It was nothing. I had permission to use a video that was a year and a half old.
Right.
And there's a guy named Darcy Weir who invited himself to a get together I was having in California with Third Phase of Moon and the panel members. Right. And he invited himself basically. And this guy's mouth was bigger than the Grand Canyon. He couldn't stop talking about how he wants to strike Secure Team and take him down and strike this channel, and wanted me to take part in that. And I said, no, immediately. Why would you want to do that? Somebody's, they make money off their channel. Why would you want to take food out of their mouths just because you don't like them? Well, it's a whole to do, but he basically striked Tyler because he set him up and forced Tyler to advertise his movie, make a documentary with him, and then he won't strike his channel anymore. And he bragged about that in California. This guy did. And it all started with that. And then we had private conversations. And then Darcy goes behind my back, goes to 1091 Productions, tries to get Third Phase of Moon in trouble for knowing me. And they weren't even involved. And this guy started what was basically a whole shitstorm of negativity towards GUFON for doing nothing. I can't see what I've done that would make anybody that mad that they want to strike my channel and take me down. The guy says, if you ever say my name out of your mouth again, you're going down. He threatened me. So he spoke about me. I replied, and he got mad at me for replying what he did. So he striked my channel with false strikes, and I won all 12 of them.
See, and that proves that they were false strikes, because they would have to do a legitimate investigation to verify. And the problem that we have with that is striking channels is such an easy yet petty task that a lot of people do. When that Lou Elizondo, Who's Lou video came out, that is what they did because they knew how to do it. But after the strikes were fought, it still stayed up because they were able to dispute it. The way the algorithm works, is it looks for markers, and if people have the right, the freedom of choice to complain, lets the business know that there's an issue. They take a closer look, and then you have the right to dispute it and to what's the word? Dispute, not dispute. Not rebuttal.
It's dispute. You're disputing them.
Countersue. There's a legal term I'm looking for. It's escaped me right now. But anyways, essentially, you have the right to fight back, and if you don't fight back, then the system wins. Like a rage against the machine. So in a sense, we have not just with use this as an example, but in the entire UFO Twitter, the entire UFO community, if somebody says something bad, the first instinct is to strike the channel because it's an option. There's no talking it through. There's no accountability. There's no, hey, let's work this out. All these other things. It's just, it's an option.
They can work it out. They just don't want to talk to you because they're just so mad at everything and everyone.
But what are they mad about? What is it that the strike means? Why does the strike mean
Because
anything?
that's how it's cancel culture.
Right. And it takes away from the money, the income, and the income is dependable.
But so you asked me what did Richard have to do with this? Well, because he's friends with this Darcy guy, and Darcy convinced Richard Dolan to strike my channel for no reason. Well, and I had permission from Dolan a year ago, and because Dolan was in his movie.
Right. So
and I had permission to play these clips from him a year ago.
But he's not here to explain what his reason was. So there may be a reason. It might exist. We just don't know that.
Dolan?
Yes. Did he tell you why he emailed him?
I messaged him.
Huh? Did he tell you why he
him. I said, I didn't hear you because I was talking.
It's okay. Did he tell you why he striked your channel?
Well, YouTube tells you.
Right. So what I'm saying is, in this community, we don't talk it out as we should. And there's a lot of there. It's so easy for everyone to attack everyone because they don't want their name associated with something, because they're afraid of reputation being damaged, and they're afraid of that affecting their income. Everyone in the community, not just Dolan, is guilty of that. We got Lou Elizondo is the biggest one that's afraid of accountability because he's putting a book out. We got Jeremy Corbell, whose all his videos have been debunked by Congress. We got so many people that are affected because it's financially compensating. So why does it matter if someone strikes you? Because you fought it and you won. And that proves, even though we had the right to do that, you fought it and you won. So therefore, he was wrong in that instance, correct?
Yeah, if he even knew that he struck me, because it was under someone else's name with Richard Dolan's channel on it. So I don't remember the guy's name.
And there's also algorithms in place that do it automatically.
Well, that's for community guideline stuff, I think,
right?
More or less. Yeah, this was just them being jerks.
But you still have the right to speak yourself. You still have the right to do all these other things, and it's just an option. But we move on. And what I'm trying to get at is why aren't we just working together? Why do we have to compete to put our opinions out there?
You can't work with stupid. That's why. You can't work with people that refuse to look at the evidence that's right in front of their face and accept it for what it is. Like, I'll give you, for instance, these San Diego lights, these flares.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people out there saying, oh my God, these are incredible UFOs, even to today. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's already out there. It's like they don't want to look at the information. They just want to believe. And that's it. And you can't tell them, and you can't change their mind. That's the thing. They don't have critical thinking.
Do we have to change their mind?
Yes.
If they believe that it's UFOs and that helps them live their day and they're happy and they don't cause harm, is it a crime? Even though that they're
causing harm. They're causing harm. They're putting out wrong information. They're going to get what they're doing is they're telling people that if you see this, it's UFOs, not flares, not even the possibility of it. This is what UFOs look like. And now you're going to get more people putting out bad information and watering down the field.
Now, the police had eventually came forward and admitted that those were flares after investigation.
And the military did too, I think.
And the military did. But at the time when it happened, that panic, right? The people thinking of it, that belief, because of all these things that are happening, we can't blame us for doing that. We want to believe. We know things are going on. We thought it was legitimate without the information that we had, but then we were told the truth. Now, are there still people believing that it's UFOs?
Yes.
Now, what's wrong? What's happening there? Because we have what should be a credible source, a government. So the police department and the military have both responded and said, this is what it is. Sorry for the alarm. We've investigated. We've listened to your complaints. We looked into it. We've taken this seriously, and this is what it is. But then a group of people don't believe it. Why is that happening?
Because, like I said, you can't work with stupid. I mean, it's right there in front of them, and they're saying
I don't agree with you that they're stupid.
No, how can you not be if you don't want to believe the truth? You're just blatantly saying what you want it to be instead of the facts. That's stupid.
We have investigative minds, but other people may not have that.
It's a stupid thing to do. Well, I know that's why they're stupid. Yeah, they're really. Well, look, I know you don't like terminology I use, but they're fucking stupid. That's what they are.
It's your opinion.
It's pissing me off.
It's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm just saying.
How can it not be? If I tell you the sky is blue and you want to say no, it's not. It's red. That's stupid.
Well, that's a statement, and that's your statement, and and when we all can see that it is blue, but what if I was colorblind, Rich, and it looked red?
Does that make extenuating circumstances? That you put an asterisk next to it, so you're still wrong.
Right, but you got to get all that information. So to say that everyone who believes it to be is stupid is kind of like
I didn't say
generalization.
I didn't say that. You're putting words into my mouth. I said the people who are saying it. The people who are saying it are stupid because they know the information and it's right in front of them.
Maybe they didn't read the same articles that we did. Maybe they still believe
No, they did. They said, oh, we don't care. That's just the government covering up shit.
Perfect. Now, where does that come from? Why do they not think that the government is telling the truth? And why do you think they're telling the truth? How come you're not questioning the government?
Because I've recorded that and have a lot of experience looking at flares, and those are flares. Undoubtedly flares, and I saw that they were verified as flares. So that confirmed information that I know that I've collected over the years, and it matches up perfectly with what other pictures and videos of flares look like. So I don't think UFOs are here showing up like that, especially when that pattern is very synonymous with flares. You see that all the time.
But is that information available to everyone? You're scrolling through, you're reading things, you're seeing that. We're looking for specific things because we know who to trust. We know who's commenting on it. We know who's going to debunk it. We know who's going to, we have size. We have sources that we look at and that we trust to give us a reading on this. And then we come to these conclusions ourselves because we've been doing this for a while. But what about new audiences that don't know the difference? If they believe it to be UFO, I don't think that makes them stupid. They're just not informed.
And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying those people are stupid. I'm saying people who know better, who are in this field, have seen that before, and are still saying, I know that's UFOs.
So it's frustrating for us. But how do we help those who don't know any wiser? How do we educate them? How do we help them come to our conclusion? Or how do we listen to them to perhaps, to change the way that we're thinking?
Now, I know it may sound like I just jumped the gun and I'm off the handle. This is after days of being calm and not saying anything and watching everything happen. That's how I usually roll.
I'm not judging you, man. I'm just working this out.
I'm saying it to the audience because I know some people out there are haters of me and they lie all the time about me. I'm a drug addict and I live with my parents. Huh?
Haters gonna hate. I'm hated too. You just gotta roll with it.
You don't have the hate that I have, but nonetheless, everywhere I go, I got to deal with it. But it's you can't. I try to explain to them and even give them links to videos and say, it's still a cover up though. So all right. I just don't deal with them anymore after that point. I mean, I'm here talking to you, telling you my brain, what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it on my show that they're all stupid,
No.
but I would say maybe they have to be. But how do you not know when the information's given to you?
No, I know
Why
that.
would you turn a blind eye to the real information? That's the problem in this community. You're showing people information and they're turning away, saying that's not true. And it is.
And the words you choose to use to describe it, there's no judgment there. That's just like, that doesn't mean you're wrong. It's just your opinion. That's how you feel. You have the right. That's validated. What I'm trying to get at is why is it so hard to convince? And are we actually right? Maybe we're wrong. Maybe they're right. Is it not possible? What makes us so? Because we're working with the same information. It has to do with trust. They don't trust the government, and they say, because they had experience. They know.
They don't know.
Well,
they
maybe,
don't know.
There's so much
what they're doing
we're
is
missing, man. So much
they're
information
just pandering.
that's missing.
They're pandering to the audience that believes, and they know. I think these people know what's right and wrong, but I think they're just saying what they want to say to make people happy and don't give a shit about the truth. And that's what's sad. I see that a lot too.
So then we're talking. So there's so many categories. So we have the players in the game that are reporting on this, that everyone is following and listening to, that's creating the environment. We can't blame the experiencers that are listening to this because they've had their own experiences and they want this to be real because they want validation and confirmation that what they're experiencing is real. And they look up to these messiahs and they don't know what to believe because it's relatable, and they can't decide or discern whether or not what they're saying is factual or made up to approach a certain market because it's the business. It's hard, it's challenging, it's dangerous for the experiencer, but yet they still believe. What we're missing is confirmation and cooperation from our governments. But our government provided that. And now that they're refusing to accept that, but why do you accept the government saying that these are flares and you're not challenging it? Not experience, but why do you trust the government in this situation when you don't trust them in other situations with conversations we've had in the past?
Because all the signs are there that these are flares. I mean, it's nothing but flares. That's it. And they flicker. They look like them. If it looks like it, acts like it, I can only surmise that that's what it is. And especially out off the coast, several miles, obviously you're not going to see the smoke trails, yada, yada, yada. It's flares. That's why I'm not arguing it. I knew what it was when I first looked at it. So there was no reason for me to not believe them.
So did I. I had a good feeling and a good hunch, but unless I did some work to get confirmation, I would be able to say it's flares, but I wouldn't be able to prove it. So having the government come forward and the police department come forward, that allows us to be right because we knew that. That helps us. But maybe the government and the police made an issue with their investigation too. So the challenge is there's no regulation. And everyone's fighting with each other over an opinion, and
facts.
Take the same, exactly. So take the same example, and let's go back to the Lou Elizondo Who's Lou documentary. Those were facts. Those were presented in a systematic way to convey a point and to ask questions. But a lot of people didn't like that, but they were still facts. Why do you think that documentary was so problematic for those who were worshiping, Lou Elizondo at the time?
Because it came from a side of the ufology community that isn't really fond of what Lou's been doing, questioned a lot of things. And when this movie came out, people felt like Lou's the guy, like this guy is really doing everything he can. He's going to get that AOI MSG office, well, it wasn't that name at the time, but he's working really hard for us. And when the movie came out,
could be true.
Could be. The movie came out, it was just them against us. That's how it felt like. And when Manny, who made it, Area 503, he put the people at the end of the movie who helped with the movie, and we all got attacked.
Yeah.
And
Manny's still pissed off at me for no goddamn reason, but here we are. We're still dealing with it. I'm asking you why that happened.
Yeah, and I was telling you, because they love Lou, and we don't believe Lou. And when the movie came out, they saw 3 hours of, and this is what they're saying. He attacked his family. Never attacked his family. As a matter of fact, Manny did everything to make sure the faces weren't shown or their names and all that stuff, I think, too. Manny was just putting questions out there. Who are these women that are with Lou? Is this really his wife and daughter? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. And people say that's attacking Lou.
And that was my recommendation and suggestion to him, was to cover that up, just to be just
very good.
Because it's not. It's we don't want to implicate anyone that has to do with it, and asking these questions to be heard and do these other things, freedom of speech, freedom of art, all these other things and expression, it's all valid. But the facts were still there. So people were upset. People were angry because they were hurt. Why were they hurt? Because they believe him and they want the truth, because they're experiencers and there's something happening. So they're believing in this guy, which could still be the guy. He just stopped playing in this field because the heat got a little bit hot. Questions were not answered. But the fact is that we challenged, and we have expectations for someone who would be in a position of power. And some believe that so blindly, and yet we challenge it because we want to make sure we trust it. And the response to that was cyberbullying, sock puppet, fake accounts, abuse, aggression, anger, and then cowardism because he left, making false promises and all these other things as a response. We get this humanistic response from the guy because he is also hurt, because it's challenging to him, because it affected something. What did it do? It affected the possibility of him selling out on a book. Right. That may potentially have answers. So he worked so hard on this marketing game. And us, me, you, Manny, and Cambian, and a few others, help, and mostly Manny. Manny did all of that. Manny's the guy who heroed this whole thing. We just guided him to make sure that, that he wasn't going to get sued in a sense of things. And he just ignored it. So now the problem that I have is the rest of the world don't know that. He's still doing it. He just stopped playing the game here, but he's still playing the game elsewhere. Now, is it possible, because he hasn't answered, he hasn't confirmed or denied, we're asking questions and we don't have the answers, could he still be telling the truth and he's still choosing not to engage in the negativity? Could you give him the benefit of the doubt in this?
No, because he's still around. He's still around. He's got his sock account and he's just playing everybody like he's done before. I don't know. I'm just saying it. I don't think Lou can stay away.
Why?
He's addicted to it. I think he loves it. Let me ask you a question, and I'll give you what I really think is going on. Why would Lou go on podcasts with 600 subscribers, not hundreds or tens of thousands? Why?
I don't know.
I do.
I would go on with anyone who asked me because it would help them. I would take the opportunity because they needed to do it. I made a pledge to myself that anyone who reached out and wanted me to be on their show, no matter how high or how low their following was, I would say yes, because the request came in. Perhaps Lou does the same thing. We don't know. He's not here. We can't. The problem we have is we can't put him on trial because he's not here to defend himself.
Right. So he leaves us no choice to talk about it the way we see fit. And what I think he did was very smart. It's never been done before. A guy like that has already been on TV. He's got his name out there all over the world. People probably know him some way or another for UFOs and whatnot. That's the guy. They'll recognize him. Maybe not, but more than not, he did the TV shows, Unidentified, and some other things. And you know what? Now, he doesn't need to go on the big shows. What he's doing is gathering free advertising and a troop of people that will support him because he went on their show when they were nothing. This guy he helped me build my show. This is Lou. I'm going to back this guy no matter what. And he got these people, blood, sweat, and tears for him without doing anything but going on their show.
And he's no different than you or
Right.
I, who
Yep.
go on shows to cross promote and advertise and market to drive attention to our channel because we work and we do these things. We all have ethics, we all have morals, we all have reason, we all have drive. And he's no different than us. And it's his right to build his brand because it's his opinion. But the issue is he's so close to God. And what I mean by that is the government. He's connected so closely to, and a lot of, which means if this was real, his testimony would be as close to accurate as possible, because the government should know everything because they existed since the beginning of time, and they will decide what is being released. So, but then we have the government now not mentioning him at all with Congress, debunking and saying it's all drones, which eliminates all of this shit. It's done. It's done. They eliminated that in Congress, which means the government doesn't even acknowledge his existence. So why does he hold real estate still? It doesn't fucking matter. He doesn't matter. But he did but he still needs to be recognized for what he did and what he started, because we're still talking about it. And the reason why we're talking about it is not because it's because we're hurt, because we trusted it too at some point. I trusted it at some point. I believed in it at some point.
Because I was hopeful. I didn't trust
exactly, and that's what this is. This is pain. Yeah. This is not logical. This is an emotional mind, and all of us are feeling this pain. And we're not able to determine whether or not it's truthful or not, because he's not speaking, and it's his right not to do so, because who wants to be attacked? I don't want to be attacked. You don't want to be attacked. He doesn't want to be attacked. And that doesn't mean it's not true. It just means he doesn't have to deal with it because he's working on it in his own way. Just like you're working on your own shit in your own way, and you make progress, you have your followers, and people are going to hate you, but you still do it because it's the cause. I still do what I do because it's for the cause. And I don't care if people hate me. I'm still doing it because it's doing that. But why can't we all just work together? What is that about?
Dude, let me tell you something. I tried to. And I just told you, I'm not throwing this back in your face. I'm just saying, I said at the beginning that I tried reaching out. Like, okay, third phase of moon, people give them a hard time. This has nothing to do with them, but they are trying to tell me, you got to be nicer to people. They told me that, don't do this, don't do things I do. They were giving me advice on how I could do things differently. Why don't you try to corroborate with other channels? Why don't you try to help the smaller channels grow? And that took me 6 months to let that sink in. So what happened? I reached out to Fessler. He turned his shit on me. Everybody saw I didn't do anything.
That's a sad
Cambian, same thing. I took him, showed everybody who he was. He turned his back on me because I was friends with third phase of moon. And this is why the first 9-10 years I was in this field, I didn't do anything on Facebook. Figure, well, third phase of moon is right. I am growing. Maybe they're right. So I reached out, tried to work with them, and that's what happened.
And but you got an opportunity by reaching out to them. You were real. You talked to them as human beings. They got feelings too. I mean, when I was with MUFON banned third phase of the moon because they didn't want competition.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. And then it didn't matter. I'm like, some of this stuff is legit. Like, it looks real. I believe this stuff. This looks right. How come we're not letting it in our channels? Oh, we don't want competing marketing and all these other things, which is why and then here we are with Tessa trying to regulate, trying to make sure that what's being shown has been gone through the checks to make sure it's good for the heart, good for the soul, and all those things. But everybody is trying to reach the same goal. We're all running the marathon.
What's that goal?
That's undetermined, because it's different for me than it is for you. It's different for them. And that's what we need to understand. That's the question we should ask, is why, Rich, with all the shit that you go through, with all the stuff that you try, why do you do this show and your show every single day? Why do you do that? What is your why?
Now that I've been in the field long enough, I'm getting people now who not make me, but prove that what I'm doing is helping people. I can't tell you how many times a year I get emails from people saying, 10 years ago, I used to hate you, but it turned out that everything you were saying was right. I should have listened. And then I get people saying, my God, I didn't even know this about ufology, or that could have been a balloon or a plane or this. And the way
you're providing a service. You're doing a cause. We are all doing that. We all have different views. We all have different opinions on it. We shouldn't be attacking other people for doing the same, for having a difference of opinions when we have the same information. What we need to do is focus the energy towards the right people and the right projects to get better information. So that way we can convey the point. So you're an investigator, self-taught, and all that other stuff, and you debunk fakers and you educate people and all these other things. How do you escalate that? Why do you, how do you expand on that? How do you keep doing that?
Well, I'm passionate about what I do, and I know what I'm doing is right. I feel in my heart I'm giving right information. And how are you asking me, how do I expand to reach more people, or what?
No, you are teaching people your ways, and you have followers, you have listeners. They depend on you. They follow you. They guide you. Sorry, so you're guiding them.
But you said, how do I expand on that? And I'm like, what do you mean?
What do you need to expand on that? So maybe be more specific on that. You should be happy with the fact that you have this, there are people listening to you because they believe you, because they believe the same thing. They know.
But you said I should be happy. I'm thrilled. I'm happy every day. Nobody is in a better mood than me on this planet every day.
Okay. All right.
So it's impossible. I'm always in a good mood.
So why is it still stressful for us? Why do we always go back into this loop? Now, I brought it up.
Because it never ends. Yeah.
I brought it up, so I'll take onus on that. Priscilla says, you're doing amazing, Rich. Awesome.
I know, because before the show, I was joking around. I'm really nervous. I'm so scared.
Don't worry about it. It's all good. Don't worry about it. And I'm playing a little bit of a psychological game here, just not because I'm trying to trap you or anything. It's because I know I can feel the sense, I feel the energy. I know that, and I've gotten some hate. I've gotten some attacks for association. When we did our first show,
yeah,
Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio.
Who?
Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio.
Oh, Sold Out Radio. Yeah, got
it. You said that. Oh boy. So
what about him?
Well, because of my association with you, he doesn't want to associate with the Experiencers Support Association. But at the same time, he tells me that he likes you and he loves you, but yet he won't encourage and endorse us because of what we're doing, because he's got a problem with me being associated by you. So just by association,
don't you think that's stupid? I mean, not stupid. Sorry, don't you think that's wrong?
Well,
why should you be penalized for being friendly with me? Why can't you two have a relationship but not talk about me?
Well, I understand that, and that's the line that I draw on. I am trying to make peace with everyone. I understand everyone.
I tried. Yeah, I'm not doing it. Yeah,
but I mean, just because I gave you opportunity to be heard.
Yeah, I know.
The 6 years that I spent with that man, that he helped me get opportunity to be heard on his program. And this is the most I've talked about it. Just for him to shit on me and forget everything we had because I gave you opportunity to be heard is unfathomable.
Wow.
And
he told me he didn't like you. He wanted to, I think, do something to your channel. I think.
Yeah. At the same time, he's kissing my ass every fucking day. And I know that shit happens everywhere. And and now that doesn't mean his channel is bad. That doesn't mean his guests are bad. That doesn't mean he's not doing good as a business.
Right.
But the reason why it interferes is because it interferes with business, because everyone's trying to make the most money. They're trying to win. They're trying to complete the mission, but they're not actually doing the fucking work, and they're not solving the problems for the experiencers who need the fucking help.
I know.
He's a radio guy, but he's fucking useless to ufology other than reporting on the same fucking shit that everybody reports on every goddamn day and has an opinion on. But at the same time, he's trying his best based on what he understands and what he wants to do, and he's equal. He's no different than you and I. He's trying. And he has a way, and he has a method, and he has experiences, and we can't fault him for that. You have a method. You are different. You have a personality that some people can't bear. I can handle it because I understand you. But some people at the same time can't deal with me. Like half the time, my wife can't fucking handle me sometimes. So we have a pause and we come back and we deal with it. It's life. But we're all angered and upset about the same shit. And if we just work together, we have the answers. We can solve it.
Why do we have to work together with we don't have to work together with everybody.
No, but what we
Right?
have to align our goals. If the goal is money, if the goal is popularity, if the goal is fame and fortune, all of this negative shit, exists. If you didn't give a shit about the money, if you didn't give a shit about what people say about you, and you were doing it as a kindness of your own heart, pure, helpful, and didn't give a shit about it, none of this stuff would matter.
No, it does. I did it for 14 years before I made a penny in this field.
The motive is what shows that. Now, as someone, we all have to work. We all have to make money. We all have to pay fucking bills. And our time is valuable. So why invest your time in something if it doesn't make money because you have other stresses? There's a need for that. But there's got to be a balance. And because we're all trying to justify the reason for doing it, we're making sacrifices from our family, we're making sacrifices from our bills, we're spending money into it, we're all trying to get answers, we're all funding this independently. We're all upset, we're all angry. So I don't blame him for being upset and angry. I feel sad for him. I feel sad for Lou Elizondo. I feel sad for everyone who's taken advantage of this problem because the government's not giving us answers, or have they? Because the information has been declassified. It's been out there, Canada and United States. No one's putting the pieces together enough to solve the question or putting it back on the people. Maybe the answers are there and we're just not accepting it. Maybe it's just us. Maybe we're special. Maybe we're connected. We are the aliens. We could figure that out if we just decide on that. But the government's not confirming, but they're also not denying. Now, is that because they know, or is it because they don't know? And there's liability that comes forward with making an assumption if they don't have all the facts. What's your opinion on that?
I think this is all a ruse. It's just, it's an act just to get funding for DOD and whoever else is involved in wanting to, for black budget projects, probably things of that nature. So they create this Tic Tac thing with no evidence. I haven't seen any, no picture, no still images, and they want everybody to believe it based on faith. So, they're doing it. They believe in it. I guess they get the signatures to get the office, to get the funding to find out what this stuff is, when in all reality, they do know what it is, I think. But you have to have something they can't say it's China or Russia, because then that would mean we're declaring that they're assholes.
And there's a huge responsibility. And we got to look at the problem of borders and different opinions and different we have provinces, you have states, other places do the same. At one time it was just like this, this side and that side, we do it this way, you do it this way. But even before that, it was universal.
Yeah.
So it's keeping everybody fucking happy. And if aliens exist, we have a variance of different opinions on everything, not just aliens and shit like that. We respond, we act, we do things when we don't like things, but we also respond in kindness and happiness when we love that. There's just not, we need more love and light than we do this analytical stuff. We need that balance. So if you imagine the government being, the United Nations, okay, so those are the board of directors for the entire world, almost 8 billion people now, they got to make a decision that says something that gets carried out across the land, and they have to predict whether or not majority of them are going to follow suit. Yeah. They could be telling the fucking truth, or they could be telling a lie because they know what's going on, because it's for the betterment of the entire world, because they want to live and they want to exist and they know things. They have all these opportunities to do all these things to make us better. So why not just tell us that aliens fucking exist? Or why not just tell us that it's a government secret budget project? Because the other governments are watching.
Yeah.
And if it's UFO drones that comes from the United States of America, we don't want Russia to know that. We don't want.
Why wouldn't we, though? To let them know we have technology that can do anything we tell it.
But then they say they know what we have, and then they make better, and then they fight and they challenge. But why are they fighting to monopolize and take the land? Because we're not fucking working together.
Right.
Everyone says we need unity. We need this. We need to work together. But what unity fucking is can you bring me resources? Can you make me money? I'll make you money. You make me money. I make you money. Let's work together. We're a group. We're making fucking money together. Fuck everybody else. That's unity to all of these fucking clubs. It's not unity for the people. The experiencers know the difference. They're listening to this podcast. They're listening to other podcasts. They know in their heart of hearts what they need and what they want. But it's coming from us. We're civilians. We're fucking nobodies. We're people who are just work day-to-day jobs and trying to help and spending our extra times to do something. We should get this from our government. But if our government isn't doing that, is it because they don't care? Or are we wrong? And they know that. So they just let us be because it's not harmful and they know the truth. Is that possible?
Of course. You could just throw a dart on the possibility chart and hit anywhere. It could be a possibility. We just don't know. But if they came out and told us the truth, or the truth as we would hope would be that they have, alien technology or alien bodies that are dead now, but how would that change everything? It would change everything. That's why they can't do it. People will lose their minds. It would open up Pandora's box. And then everything would be questioned. Everything. It already is. But I'm talking, it would get really bad.
But they would, in order to do that, they would need to predict or calculate or know that the end result was going to be beneficial in the long run. Holy fucking shit. A $100 super chat. That's the most we've ever got. Mystic 15, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you. That's unfucking believable. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for supporting this. And that's great. Thank you so much. So totally lost for fucking words there. But I'm upset. I'm angered. I do this too. I sacrifice so much, and God bless the soul of my wife who has allowed me to sacrifice so much fucking time to do this because I believe in it too. I believe I can help. I can solve this. I can do my part, but I'm no different than everybody else. And she sees the stress. She sees the fucking struggle. She knows how hard it was with MUFON and all this other stuff and all these other fucking monies and doing this now. She's still supportive. But I could still be fucking wrong.
I know. We all could.
We all could be. And that's so challenging. We got 42 people listening to us live right now. We got super chats happening, all that other shit. And we're talking theoretical. And we have their attention. And they may just believe it. But we all collectively could be wrong.
Yeah.
But we also could be right. So where is the middle path? Because we really don't know. There's belief. So how do you divide belief, faith, and fact to move forward in the right direction? What do you do?
You have got to do your own research. And what bothers me a lot about these debunkers out there and people who think they know, they don't have any experiences. They never held a camera. There are a lot of what do they call Monday afternoon quarterbacks type of things. They just get a lot of shit wrong. Right. That's what we have to do. You guys need to do your own research. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to Ryan. Do your own stuff after you listen to us.
Yeah, take it as a grain of salt. Check. Call us out on our shit. Yeah. And either that's what I expect. That's what I want. I publish book reports on my work to show my work, not to brag about it. Hoping that somebody. What I really want is not everyone to buy the damn book. What I want is someone to be so mad at me and so smart to be like, hey, you're fucking wrong and this is why. So I can be like, thank you. Thank you for spending so much time and attention and having so much anger and hate towards me that you taught me something. Because I want the answers too, And if I got to get that from the haters, I love when people hate me because why are you hating me? You're not hating me because I'm right or I'm wrong. You're hating me because of how I'm making you feel, and they're uncomfortable because it changes the way that they think and it changes the way they feel. And people don't change unless they feel differently. When you walk into a room, you feel negative energy, you leave that room because you don't want to feel negative. But if you feel positive, you will stay in that room because that's what you want to feel, you know, and things like that. It is a fucking compliment when people chew me out. But what I don't like is this period of silence when no one's complimenting and no one's chewing me out. It's just in limbo. So I don't know, and I'm sure I'll push this back to you as another investigator who's doing this independently. I don't know if I'm right or fucking wrong because I'm not getting any feedback, right or wrong. And even if it's positive, I still have to have right of a mind to be like, I could be wrong and thank you and be a little bit humble about that. But then, you know, then there's some little bit of validation, but the haters don't say anything, and it's because they don't care, because they're not ordering it. But at the same time, if they're trying to build their channel and they see that everyone is following this, why not get us on their channel to increase their ratings and their sales? Because the ego, because the pain, the anger, and the competition is sitting down. And they're no fucking good for ufology because they're doing it to fill their pockets. But they may have moral intent inside, but the true reason behind it is because they spent and they sacrificed and they did all these things, and it's hard. There's got to be a reward behind it. People don't work unless they get compensated. Work fucking sucks, and you know, but it pays the bills, and you got to do it. And then eventually people change, and people become dependent on it. Stephen Greer makes a lot of money, but he becomes dependent on it, and maybe he slides a couple things here and there so he keeps the revenue coming in. Do you blame him as a businessman? No, but on a topic that's so serious, but if you understand it, can you still believe them and trust them and do all these other things? That's
the thing. We invited those people who think the opposite or say I'm wrong. I invited them on to come debate it, and they didn't want to do it. I would never go on your show. Oh, I'll go on your show. You'll never. I'm like, then how are you ever going to talk about it? Why are either one of us going to be right or wrong? I mean, let's just figure it out and get it over with.
Yeah. I'm not perfect. Calls my shit. I'm sorry. Give me the opportunity to apologize to you. Give me the opportunity to realize that I did something wrong, but also accept the possibility, accept the moment that I'm doing something because I feel the need to try, because I see, and you see it as well. There is a need to help, but we don't know what we're doing. We are trying. We are learning. We are evolving. We are hoping, but why don't you stop? Why do you keep going? Why can't you give it up, Rich?
I did give it up once before.
Why?
For a whole year, I stayed away and didn't think about it once. Well, like I said, I'm very passionate about this. And it's not that I'm addicted to doing it or anything. I just like talking and letting people know. I think at this point, I think it's like it is my job. I mean, you know, I do 80 hours of radio a month or podcasting.
And people shit on you for dedicating 80 hours of your fucking life to talk about bullshit problems that the government should be solving. What is wrong with them? Even if you're wrong.
Right.
Why do they spend all this energy attacking you? That has to do with them because they're hurting. It's trauma that's untreated.
Well, no, because people said that about me. They said the only reason you're going after people is because you have problems, dude. You have anger issues. I'm like, I'm so far from that. I don't ever have anger issues. Ever. Never have. You know, it's just really strange how people see that, just because I talk louder than most people and I say people are stupid, that I'm wrong.
Right.
That the information I'm giving is wrong and all I do is attack people, which isn't true. I talk about Jeremy Corbell. I talk about, a lot of people that are supposed to know. They're supposed to be protecting us and telling us the truth and doing what's right for the greater good. And they're doing the opposite. But I'm angry.
But the thing is even
though I don't have angry issues, I'm angry at a passion for not
it's love.
for
It's
not
a
doing
passion.
the right thing.
You know, and it's hard. Anger, irritation, all that stuff too. I mean, I do it too. I mean, for those of you that are familiar with the show, this is probably the most aggressive I've ever been. But this is because A, I've had Rich on the show before. B, I know that Rich is enduring the same shit that I've been enduring. So I'm in a place of comfortability right now because we're soldiers fighting the same war. You know, so and I'm very, very comfortable having a conversation. And by having a conversation with him, with this individual, I'm aware that there's going to be consequences to that. But I don't give a fucking shit because that's a problem with them. The guy deserves to be heard. You know, I agree with him in some things. Methods are different in all these other things too. But like, we're not the only people that are sniffing the shit that know that the scent is wrong.
Right. There's a lot more people than saying a lot worse things.
We might just be the ones fucking yapping. But we got 46 people listening to us right now because they know. They're nodding their heads, sitting there at home. You know, so don't be mad at us. Be mad at the attention that we create because it takes away from your business, you know, and things like that too. Now, you know, everybody's got to make fucking money, man. It's got to be profitable. But if money is the goal, that's when you start taking shortcuts.
Yes.
That's when you start lying and fibbing and doing all these fucking things so that you get the paycheck to buy the boat, to buy the pass, to do all these other things. Yeah, money's good. But I mean, if people want to send you freaking money, we didn't ask for a super chat. You know, Majestic just sent that.
Right.
That he thought that was valuable enough, worth his money. He could have put you could put a fucking $1 and I would have said the same thing.
Yeah.
But he put $100 and that's or 99.99. So you know, the dollar value is different to every single walk of life. A dollar could be a lot of money to some person. It could be nothing to others. $100 could be like $1 million to some people, and it could be $1 to him. It's different. But the thing is when you fight for it, when you ask for it, and when you do it, it's not genuine. Yes, it covers the overhead, but if you start to do a business, if you start to do a mission, yeah, there's fucking expenses. But the people aren't going to buy the product if they don't believe in it. And if you're trying to convince them, if you're lying, if you're selling, if you're trying to convince them, clickbait and do all these fucking things, there's a psychological problem with the individuals that do that just to get the people to click it to make the revenue so you can buy the boat.
Yeah.
And then we have the government that's just like, they can't do anything about it because that's not just ufology. That's the pandemic. That's everything. You know, they just might not have the answers. And we as people are just fucking fighting with each other over nothing.
It's never going to end, though. The fighting, it's been here since day one for me. Not because of me. My first 7-8 months, I was like the Corbell of the time. You know, I was on everybody's show and all my sightings were getting play. I didn't have the website or the radio show. I was going all over. That's why I got into radio, because I saw how terrible people were interviewing me and not asking the right questions and talking about these things. Then I met Jaime Maussan and saw the corruption. I was like, oh, geez, I got to talk about this. Yeah. And it never stopped. But that's the thing. It's always been here. Yeah. It never will go away. I mean, yeah, we can maybe be friends with people and work with people, but there's always going to be other people that are coming in that are assholes too. Mm-hmm. Or stupid, as I like to call them.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we're going to elaborate and we're going to expand outside of the circle because we're only talking about a very small community, you know, that because there's a lot of people outside of the world that don't even fucking know that we have problems. They look at it, they see it on the news, we're like, cool, and then they move on.
Of course.
We're going to get into that when we come back. So we're going to pause right here. Stacey, I forgot about the icebreaker question. I kind of got one into it. So I'm going to bring that icebreaker question in when we come back from the break. So if you're listening to this audio version, head over to youtube.com/the Experience Support Association. You will see the video that goes with this audio. You're listening to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, a podcast by the Experience Support Association. I'm here with Rich Giordano, and we will be right back in about for 4 to 5 minutes. See you soon.
It's your business. It's your property. Your assets are worth protecting. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services specializes in patrolling and inspecting residential or commercial property against fire, theft, vandalism, terrorism, and illegal activity. People and buildings are monitored to prevent crime. Keep your property, your people, and your assets safe from threat. Our elite staff are dual licensed private investigators and security guards. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services. Go to blacklightiss.com.
The same thing that draws aliens to our planet is the same thing that draws us to others. Exploration, curiosity, sustainability of life. That's why we go. It would make sense as to why they're visiting here.
Travis! Quit playing around, man. Get back here. Travis!
The last thing I remember was this numbing shock. Stunning sort of a feeling. Very powerful.
Get away from me!
I was just out of my mind with fear, just screaming the whole time.
It's been theorized that aliens prefer remote areas because they don't want to attract attention. Whatever it is that they're doing, they would want to do that in a less populated area. There are multiple accounts of the same thing from people from all over the world. People that do not know each other, do not live in the same cultures, and they're all looking up, they're all seeing things in the sky. So it would be naive of us to think that we're
Ryan is one of Canada's leading new UFO investigators. He conducts and oversees UFO investigations on a constant basis and was really taken by his research. He's compiled a tremendous amount of data regarding UFOs in Canada. Just as interesting, he really goes over how UFO investigations are done and what are some of the mistakes that people make when they submit evidence. Note for starters, don't edit your videos or photos before you send them. If you want to hear more follow-up conversation between Ryan and myself, you can go to richardolanmembers.com, where we have a candid conversation on ufology, the paranormal, and more. And remember, while we learn and grow and search for the truth, let's be good to each other.
Welcome to the Observation Deck, a state-of-the-art, one-of-a-kind virtual platform that takes video conferencing to the next level by using avatars to navigate a campus, just like you would in real life. First, you install the application and design your very own unique avatar. Then you're free to explore the various areas of the campus at any time from anywhere. There's so many areas and activities to choose from on the platform. There's a 1,000-seat auditorium, a large expo hall, a movie theater, a nightclub, an art gallery, and even a beach. Come attend a conference, or take a class, or hear a lecture. Meet new friends and interact directly with presenters. It's all right here on the incredible Observation Deck campus. Where in the world will you go?
Have you ever wondered, or maybe just thought to yourself, if there were others just like you? You know, people with extraordinary abilities, psychogenic advancement, and perhaps unique intuitions. Maybe you just wondered if there were other people who experienced unimaginable, unexplained, or even unusual and paranormal events. Are there people who have more questions, more fears than answers? Well, you're not alone. You've never been alone. We believe you. Sign up for EA today by going to tesacan.org/EA. That's TESACAN.org/EA. No. Oh, welcome back.
Hey.
Sorry, you were listening to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. Have you ever experienced an unexplained event involving the paranormal, UFOs, and extraterrestrials, Dogman, or any other paracryptid? Head over to the experiencersupport.org and submit a report. Let others who have already reported be that example that proves we are making a difference. And if it wasn't for these reports, we would not be able to do what we do. And for that, we thank you. So it's a new website, everybody. If you guys haven't seen it yet, we'll put the link in the comments. But click submit report. I got my first report today for in the new system, and it looks fancy. So I'm still here with Rich. We got kind of heated there. I think
you did.
Yeah, that was me. That might have been me.
You know, it's interesting seeing you get frustrated because you're right. You don't ever speak like you have tonight.
No, I don't. I'm very reserved because
you don't want people to think negatively of you. Just say it. Don't frown the eyebrows.
It's not that I don't want people to think. I don't want people to hate you. I want people to understand. And what I've come to realize, being a professional, I drop the F-bomb more times than I ever have probably in any episode. I mean, with the responsibilities that I have with all the day jobs and all these other things too.
Sure.
Completely out of line. But I'm a human too. And and at the end of the day, all these other things and expressions like that. And I appreciate the opportunity to be comfortable with you, to be able to express myself. It's comfortability. Because I feel you, I relate. I see that. Even though I don't talk to you and I haven't talked to you, I see the shit that people say about you. And I'm like, oh, man, I hope Rich is doing okay. I hope all these other things. And at the same time, back and forth, it's just horrible. And yeah, I'm comfortable. I've got a lot of pent up energy, but I have the passion. I do care about it. I share the frustrations. I just feel comfortable with you, man. So I'm just, if people want to hate me, then they hate you. Then let's be hated together. And if they're going to hate us, let's talk about solutions. But before we get into that, let me ask Cece's icebreaker question, which is, if you discover an energetic portal in your basement, what do you do?
You're asking me or the audience?
I'm asking you.
Oh, I would fly my drone into it and see if I can record anything on the other side.
That's a safe risk. That's good.
I just thought of it. At first I was like, well, maybe I'll put my hand into it, but what if it sucks me in or rips my arm off? I don't know. It would have to be a proven portal. And if it was, I would throw stuff in it and look behind it, see if it would come through. I'll do all that. But I would definitely fly the drone into it. Absolutely.
That is kind of wise, because then you do always see people be like, oh, and then you never see them like lose their fingertip as soon as they like put it in. That could be an issue.
We don't know. Yeah, it could be.
Someone in the comments says, I'll throw my cat in. Like, oh my God. Okay. So I've vented. I feel comfortable, but at the same time, I see the hate, I see the pain, I see the hope, I see it crushed and it hurts. And I watch this and I engage in this not because I want the hurt, because I want the pain, because I'm trying to understand where the solution is. Yeah. How do we take this energy, transmute that, and learn from it and create something positive? So how do you spin this around? How do you learn from this? What are you doing with this? What is for the future? What is going on?
We have to remember you're talking to somebody who's been in this 18 years, and a lot of the things that I would say I want to do, I've already done. Like just capture something on video, figure out what people are seeing, stuff like that. Well, what I'm doing now is I'm bringing out all those old videos and I'm going to start posting them and showing people how I learned through video presentation on what I captured. And what I'm going to do is test people. I have a show I call GUFON U. It's GUFON University. And the last Sunday of every month, we have a class and I teach people on, how to use the right camera, the settings, a tripod, everything. So that's what I've now started again. The GUFON University is where you can come in and I'll teach you guys what I know. And you can take it to practice and see if it works for you. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking that energy and I'm going to be making how-to videos, what not to do, what to do, and go out. And I'm actually going out, and I've got a lot of B-roll footage of the town I live in, but I want to go meet people on the beach and interview them and show them videos and ask them what they think. And do you believe in aliens? So I want to get the public's point of view. That was my goal from day one. And I finally have the opportunity to do that here in Florida, where in Arizona, it's just way too hot and people don't congregate outside or do anything like that in the summer. So that's it, man. All that energy's I'm always working. I'm always doing something, research, reading, watching, talking to people.
And you're being there because there's people listening. There's people who tune in. There's people that want to hear that. And
that's why I go every day. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're providing a service. So if anyone has never said this, I want to say it now, man. Thank you for your service, because
I'm a hero too.
Well, I mean, it's hard. Whether you're there's no regulations, there's no right or wrong. There's effort, and the people that are and we depend on the people listening. And if they continue to come back and listen, then they agree with you, or they want to learn and they help. That normally doesn't swear like that.
Yeah, you're human, like
yeah,
you said.
But it's rewarding to teach people your knowledge, but we put the onus on the people that, if they know less than you, then they can learn, but we want them to go above and beyond. And if someone else better comes along, we want them to help us and educate us and work together too. So, are there any schooling? There's no schooling, eh? Like, there's no courses you could ever take, because ufology is the study of UFOs, which is essentially studying things that you can't find.
Right. You're studying everybody's guesswork. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, would there ever be a university or even a college, degree that you could use?
I think I could implement what I'm doing on GUFON U and maybe present it to, I don't know, maybe schools, maybe, I don't know, maybe make it like the paranormal class, like if you want to research, because you're using cameras, you could make it into something that's very technical, and you got to learn how to research stuff. And if you're interested in ghosts, we can go and do a ghost hunt as a class project, or a UFO hunt.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting to have a class like that.
And why is it important that people learn that?
Well, it's important in my eyes because I believe we're not the only ones in this universe. And if we are being visited, or if they're from this planet and they just live elsewhere, then why not try to find them and communicate with them? Let's figure out what other people can't do. You might make history.
Right.
And that's what keeps me going. I might be the first person to capture a real UFO that everybody knows is real. Nobody can deny it, something like that, or see a ghost, or watch things move and it's not done with wires. That's what I want.
And if that's good enough for you, do you need to prove that to the entire world, or can you just move on?
Oh, I can move on because I've already done it. But yeah, if I had something that was like right in front of your face, it would make me a little upset if people didn't buy into it, but I would understand, and it wouldn't get me mad. I'd be like, look, you don't have to believe me, but this is the video and I didn't fake it. And I know you think I did, but I didn't. That's how you have to go about it. There's nothing you can do. You just can't change people's minds. You just can't. And that's what I said. A lot of these debunkers don't have experiences. They think everybody's faking it when not everybody is. I used to be that guy.
Yeah, it's opinionated evidence without any facts. So it's hard because it's not their fault for expressing their opinion.
Right.
It's the fault of the people listening and accepting that without fact checking and making a conscious decision for themselves.
Which is work. Nobody wants to do that.
No. So our role is to make sure that we set the right examples. We do things right. We make sure we're doing it right.
Yeah.
I'm aware that I was, passionate and very aggressive with my F-bombs. But, and I'm owning that. But I mean, I also appreciate the opportunity and comfortability to be to unwind a little bit, because there's this expectation. You got to be professional. You got to be.
Yes.
Don't talk to me because you don't have a university degree, or you know, talk to me when you have all these years of experiences and blah 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 blah. And I'd be like, look, I don't care about all your experiences. I'm just simply trying to tell you that your grade 8 math is fucking wrong. You know, I didn't go to college, I didn't go to university. I learned grade 8 math, and your calculations that you have all these degrees for. I'm glad you're proud about that. I'm seriously, congratulations. You spent all that money, you wasted all that time for fucking nothing, because you should have invested that in math. And the math says you're wrong, you know, and math is a universal language. And we get a lot of criticism and judgment because the expectation is we need to be academic. And
yes.
we need to be that. But there's citizen science. I call myself a citizen journalist only because I didn't go to school for journalism. But as a private investigator, it's the same fucking thing. I learned how to write notes. I learned how to get evidence. I learned to get all these other things. I'd rather be a private investigator than a journalist, because I can send people to jail instead of writing things, writing things and opinions out there.
Sure.
And that was, but I mean, to keep, Dave Scott and everybody else happy who went to school for journalism, paying respect to and appreciation that they went to school and they paid the money for that. It isn't right to call yourself that. I get that. Yeah. But at least in those opportunities, accepting the opinion from the citizen mind, there's street smarts and there's book smarts. And if you go to the policing community, they have confidential informants, investigations. We have informants. These are people that are underprivileged and have challenges in life, but they know the real ins and out. They know the information. They're smart because they know the experience. They have the experience. They didn't go to school. They didn't go to university. That shit doesn't freaking matter, but they're useful. And so this hierarchy where you got to be a journalist, or you got to be a scientist, or you got to be, you can nowadays, you could Google it. I'm not encouraging this, but I mean, you could Google it and figure it out. And if you have half a brain and you fact check and you verify from many different sources and you know that you're right, then you're right. You don't need to go to school. You just got to just got to know that you're right and accept that you're wrong when you're wrong. And that changes the character and things like that. But if you're right and you don't have all these things, society won't accept you.
I know. Why? Because we have been conditioned to believe that people who have these degrees are smart people. They put the time in to learn it, every inch about it, and they don't think we did. I have more know-how than I would have to say most people in the community. Over 20,000 hours of sky watching, and believe me, that's doable. People are like, yeah, that's impossible. I'm like, well, 10 hours a day, 5 years, it's approximately 400 hours a year times 5 years is what? 4,000 hours a year. That's 20,000 hours. That's what I put in my first 5 years. So it's more than that. And I have bigger education in this field because of that, with all the mistakes that I've made and all the research I've done. Let me ask you a question. Yeah. Travis Taylor has all these degrees. Lou has some degrees, chemistry and science, stuff like that. Yeah. Without a UFO in their hands, what good is it? Why would a physicist or anybody be good in this field? Because what are they measuring?
Exactly. The certificates don't fucking matter because they don't have it. So when they have it in their hands, then I would hope that someone higher up would then take it a little bit more seriously, and then they would deal with it. That is another thing that recently dropped. What is your thoughts on just learning that Travis Taylor was the chief scientist for the UAPTF?
I'm pretty upset that was kept. Why? Because it's just, look, I don't know the whole story. I only know what I read. So I'm a little less offended by it. But at first it was like a knee-jerk reaction, like, what a jerk. But maybe he had to, it's okay if he did that and didn't tell anybody. He had to, right? I mean, that's what he had to do. He wasn't allowed to talk, maybe. I don't know. So I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem is when he's going to work with Ancient Aliens or Skinwalker Ranch and all these other places, and acting like he's not, it just bothers me.
It's
I think
expectations.
yeah, and also in an interview, he said, I never ever cared about UFOs. It was never something in my life, something like that. I'm just, paraphrasing. And then in another interview, he said, I think of UFOs my whole life. That's all I did. I loved UFOs. So he contradicts himself in interviews now. And it's just bad. It's a bad look. And that now I don't trust the guy, even though he's a nice guy. That's what I talked about tonight. As long as you're nice, people will forgive you.
The problem that I have, and it's just opinionated. It's not. There's no facts. There's no evidence to support it. Is that I got comfortable with the guy on Skinwalker Ranch. I got comfortable with him as Ancient Aliens, and I respected him as a guy just doing that.
Yeah,
you know what? He may be a little bit smarter than everybody else. I resonate with that, and I see he seems to have a handle on that. But then to be named the chief scientist for, who basically said that these are UFOs when the Congress had proved that they're drones, meaning he's wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
I would have kept that fucking secret forever.
Yeah, probably.
Or I would have led with that and then come forward and be like, you know what? I'm wrong. It's just kind of not a good time to be like, hey, that guy that got it wrong? That's me.
Yeah, you're right.
And that doesn't mean that he's not passionate. That doesn't mean that he's not right. It doesn't mean that he can't be forgiven. It can't move on. It wasn't well executed. And if, having a media company myself, I would have, if I had the choice, I would have led with that and then built up his character on Ancient Aliens and Skinwalker Ranch to redeem himself. So that way people can be like that. But now we're just like, well, that fucking sucks. You're this great guy, but really on these shows, you're just kind of like, eh.
But are we misinterpreting what was said? Because I thought I just read that they were calling him the chief scientist because he was one of the few scientists that had a lot of degrees. But he really wasn't running it or anything like that. He was just the chief scientist.
So I'm paraphrasing here, but John Greenwald did a request for information in regards to that. I read that this morning.
Yeah.
And some of the questions that he asked kind of deep dived into that. And I think the response sent something along the lines of he was just the guy available at the time.
Yeah.
So they really didn't acknowledge that he was like chief as in the leader, the big guy. It's just the word. It's the word that they chose to use. And then which means it's nothing,
Right. He just filled in some tasks here and there over the years, right?
Which still needs to be accepted, still needs to be honored, still needs to be gratified. And he's coming out with it, and at least he's being honest with it, and we can accept that and move on.
Yeah.
But the UFO story is done. Mainstream media is not going to talk about it anymore, are they? Congress has done their... Is there another Congress coming? I heard chatter about
once
that.
A year.
Oh,
just once a year, right? Isn't that it?
Yeah. So it's
I know that... Well, they're talking like there's going to be another hearing on UFOs soon, but I think they only do it once a year. I could be wrong. I don't know.
So talk about what, though? With the most...
I don't know.
Revealing evidence that we thought was legitimate, that kept us on the hook for so many years. The United... I was going to say Canadian because I'm Canadian, but the United States government has deemed it as drones, and that includes the green triangle pyramid that Jeremy Corbell
over the Russell.
Yeah.
So all of those from 2015 on were drones. I thought there was only a couple of them. I didn't know they were saying all of them.
Well, they were
drones.
I don't know about all. I have to go back and verify.
Yeah. That's what I'm not sure.
But the big ones that we have video evidence for, the best evidence, the United States government has considered to be drones. So that would mean they have more information that we do, and we should trust that. So is it actually drones, or are they just covering it up? Is it another balloon like Roswell?
Don't you think it's interesting? Now they're telling us that after they got their little AOI MSG office. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, it's good time.
Now they changed it, and now they can change it, and now we're all going to say, see, They don't give a shit. It was all bullshit. That's what this whole thing is. It's all a ruse to get money and funding for black budget projects, to do whatever they want. Spy, cheat, steal, launch, anything they want. It's all bullshit.
They can do that behind the scenes.
Yeah, I know. But they needed the public to back this up in Congress.
Why?
Because they had to sign off on it. It was in the thing, right? In
so
the COVID thing.
If we wanted it, we'd have to fight for it. So here's the other thing too: is what if this was just damage control?
It could have been.
You got Mellon and Elizondo, who have access to leaked information. So that indicates that the United States government is unable to protect information, to create an environment in which two individuals was able to acquire protected information. So it got out, it got to the public, it made some noise, it did all these things, and they monopolized on it. Smart for them, good for them, it worked out for them, and they made it a long way. But they needed, and that happens to be something that they needed or something that they known, and then they had to cover it up. So what did they do? They had to do damage control to prevent that from happening again. The cards were shown. So they create this OISMOG, or how do you say that? AOISMG?
Yeah, the AOIMSG.
Yeah. The OIMS, I don't know.
AOI, I don't know. I don't
know how to say it as a word. But they create this so that way they're controlling it. They regulated data. They had to do it so that there's a process so that way the event doesn't happen again. And now that they have the processes, they have the organization, they have the people, they have all these things. They have a Congress hearing because they have to do damage control. Again, they don't name Lou. They don't name Corbell. They show their evidence and they say it's drones.
Right.
So they're aware. They're obviously fucking aware. And they don't acknowledge to give power. And they just simply, this is done. We have it. We're taking control of it. So that way it doesn't happen again. Now, are they protecting our interest from UFOs, or was it a secret project, which is okay because we want to make sure we have, good technology to defend against our competitors. We want to make sure we know that we're safe. That's a good thing to know, and I can trust that. Don't tell us everything. Don't tell us where it is because everything gets out in the public, and then all of a sudden Russia's building the same thing. That happened with in Germany with it when they made the flying saucers. Right. Then Canada made the Avro in 1958 or something, two of them. And then they sold a patent to the United States government. And then they made one. And then we haven't talked about it for many years. So if you follow the paper trail, the United States got a patent to create a flying fucking saucer. So that, it's theirs. It's there. It exists. But to keep that a secret from the other governments, I can trust that. That makes sense. But are all the governments trying to create their own secret technology to keep from each other? Or do they all have this so they can battle something else moving into space? Where's the aliens come in? What is the end? What is going on?
I don't know, man. That's a pretty big matzo ball to throw out there.
Well,
that we're all
this is beyond the tinfoil hat.
I know, and I saw you took off your under thing. Your
Yeah, I was getting worked up. I was sweating. I had to take.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I think this RFID, was what really set me off. It was my first time wearing it. I was all like, eh.
And you got that from the Leak Project?
Yeah, Rex.
Rex. Yeah, I watch him. Yeah, he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, he sent that to me. And Rex, if you're watching this, because I told you that I was debuting the hat, and Marty McFly here, I want to send you a shirt from Tessa. You got to respond to my email so I got your return address.
I have to admit, that's a really cool hat, and I love hats.
Oh, this hat's nice.
They sell those?
Yeah, he sells them.
Okay, well, I'm buying one.
Yeah, this is officially the Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. It is a tinfoil hat. Until someone does better. Unfortunately, so cool. Rex has monopolized on the hat sponsorship because
good for him.
I don't see anything fucking better than this.
Tell me that guy doesn't work hard.
Oh, he does.
He does. He's doing something like every other hour, it seems like. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what he does. He's always out doing stuff.
And he's another passionate too.
Yeah.
Hey, Stacey, if you're listening in the back chatter, maybe we can set up like a couple months from now after drama has settled that maybe we get Rex and Rich and I on a three-way, and that that came out wrong. But to get the
I knew what you meant.
You know what I meant. We'll start some shit up. I see you laughing in the back. Message received. Okay. But yeah, it's all good.
No, so as far as everybody, see, that's why they got the AOI MSG, because what they wanted to do was take that office, have it backed by the government, which gives them access to the other governments in conversation of secret technology. So they want to know what they have. Hey, what does Spain have? What does Brazil have? What does Russia have if we ever talk to them? They want to know what they've got. That's why they put this office there.
But are we getting prepared to fight each other in space, or are we getting prepared secretly together to fight something that's coming in space?
God, I hope not. But that's like the Illuminati. I guess remember Werner von Braun said that according to the Illuminati play deck, it was supposed to be the pandemic, then an asteroid, and then the fake false flag alien invasion. But we haven't had the asteroid yet. So maybe that is coming. Maybe there's something coming. I know a comet just entered in near orbit.
And if they're taking care of that in secret and they're not telling me of that, I'm fucking okay with that.
But what happens if they don't destroy whatever it is they want to, and then it's too late?
Then they have to tell us, and then we're done. But at least they tried. Why put us in a state of an emergency or a state of an alert if they don't have to? They got it.
100%. I was just going to say that. I heard that Trump is going to announce something with Space Force in the next month. Did you hear anything about that? Something major is going on with Space Force.
So here's something interesting with Space Force. Let's go back to
all right,
the Air Force. Which came first, the plane or the Air Force?
I have a feeling it was the plane.
Correct.
But I think it wasn't it?
No, you're correct. So the airplanes were created, and then they decided to make an Air Force because it was on the ground. It was just the Army and Navy and all that other stuff.
Oh, right,
Right? So then they created the Air Force. So we had all these planes. We knew about it. Then they started making military planes, and we have these Air Forces. We created the Space Force. Where are the spaceships?
Everywhere. But mainly space.
But usually, they had the airplanes before they had the Air Force. So shouldn't we have the spaceships before we have the Space Force?
Yeah, but it's more or less to save our satellites from being blown up because that's what Russia said would be the first thing they would do is go after our satellites.
My theory is that the spaceships exist, and they've always existed. So they create the Space Force, and then they create this need to use said spaceships, so that way they can announce that they're creating them for said reason, but they existed all along.
Hey, man, I've thought of that too, and that's a possibility. I mean, you cannot deny that possibility. And you go back and look when we went to the moon, they saw what looked like smoke coming out of little stacks. They saw lights in the craters. I mean, there's something going on, I think, on the moon. I don't know, man. It's just crazy what's going on.
All right, let's talk about the moon. All right, and the moon landing. The moon landing. Did that really happen?
Yeah, I think it did.
And is what was televised on, and shown?
It had to be. It had to be, because you cannot televise something live continuously with the recorded. You would have to have miles and miles of spools of 35 millimeter film. There's no way they could have done it 24 hours of film, and that stuff breaks off. You would have seen the little spots on the film. Nobody saw that shit. They really went to the moon. They really recorded it. What happened was, I think they had, what's his name, that director, make and film just in case we didn't make it there. Because we were in that space war with Russia, and we wanted to prove we went there. So why not film putting the flag in case we don't make it there? That's what I think happened. I think we went there, though.
Well, then if you fast forward a little bit, when George Bush, W. Bush Jr. announced that they were going to go to Mars, but before they went to Mars, they needed to go to the moon first to fuel up. But then some conspiracy theorists figured out that the moon was simply out of the way, and you could just go from the Earth to the moon based on the orbit. From the Earth to Mars, straight from Earth without avoiding the moon, because the moon would be behind the Earth. So it's kind of like a, going backtrack and then going forward. So why would it make sense to go there? So the conspiracy theory was because I think it was China or Russia was kind of announcing at the time, fact check me on this, it could be wrong, is that they kind of acknowledged, well, since the United States has placed their flag on the moon, we too would like to go to the moon and place our flag there as well, right? And then the next day, Bush mentions that he's going to Mars and they got to piggyback off the moon. And so what I was thinking is perhaps he was going to the moon to make sure the fucking flag was there before Russia got there. Because what would happen if Russia actually landed on the moon and the flag wasn't there?
Yeah, but that'd be bizarre,
right?
It's there though.
Now, is the moon? Yeah, well, we'll save that for the last. We're still.
You can see it from Earth with telescopes.
Yeah, is it in outer space or is it in our orbit? Is it?
The Earth is not flat. The moon is 32 miles an hour, whatever it is, 228,000 miles away.
What about the theory of the moon being plasma?
Yeah, I don't buy that.
Why?
I don't. It just doesn't look like it. I mean, I look at the moon a lot, and I don't see anything that looks like plasma. We've landed on it. It's not plasma. China just had a drone up there a year ago and showed us pictures.
We've been told that we've landed on it.
Yeah, I know. Nothing's provable because you and I can't go there. That's the rub. I hate that. But eventually
And we trust what we're being told is the truth.
Yeah,
but if you look at it with your own eyes, do you see it transparent in the sky at times?
No, never.
You're not looking at it often enough.
Oh, but nobody looked at the moon more than me. I mean, I know that moon very well. And even when it's just a slither, you don't see stars in the darked out portion. It's all blacked out.
Right.
So it's not.
And that was a lot of things too with the conspiracy theory around the flag moving because there's no atmosphere, and then where are the stars and all these other things, and piggybacking off of your idea of him filming something as a just in case, I can understand the need, but if that's the film that was on television, how do we know for sure whether or not they landed on the moon at all? And how do we not know? It's not like Transformers. I know it's a movie, but they kind of turned it off, and then they showed that while they actually dealt with what was really there.
You're never gonna know. You're never gonna know. We would have found out.
So is it possible that there's alien bases on the moon?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, if it's possible to be plasma, it's possible there's aliens on the moon. Anything is possible because I can't get there and prove it wrong.
Right.
So I have to go with just gut and instinct like you and everybody else.
So
no matter how.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, no matter how many movies and how much research and I flip-flopped whether we went to the moon or not, we'll never know. That's what I was going to say.
Regardless of what we think we know and what we try to believe, all these rabbit holes that we've dug ourselves into, and we're in a freaking deep one, we still have to trust the science that is given to us.
I know.
And they say all these things aren't true. But why don't we trust it? And why don't we just move on and carry on? Why does it matter that, the shape of the earth might be wrong? Why does it matter that there might be extraterrestrials? Why does it matter that there's spacecraft and secret space missions? Why does this matter to us that we want the truth? Why do we want to know that?
Because nobody likes being lied to, especially from people that have the power to, give us this information and have the power to tell us anything they want and have the power to control masses. And I think we believe, and because we just don't care. I mean, what are we going to do? There's nothing. People are like, there's nothing I can do. So whatever. What are we going to do? There's nothing you can do. I lost my train of thought.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's just what I think is there. It's a hope because we do work every day. We're slaving and we're trying to do whatever we got to do to move forward for whatever mission because somebody knows the answer. Someone has to know.
Yeah.
The idea of there being life after death, the idea of there being creators out there, the idea of the universe being bigger than just this, this snow globe that we may or may not live in, gives us hope. Otherwise, why would we endure all this shit? Why would we put up with this crap? Why would we work so hard, pay our bills, and do all these other things and live up to 90, 80, 90 years of life if we're lucky?
Yeah.
Right? They got to give us hope. Now, if that hope is real, then there's an afterlife, and we'll find that out when we check out. But if that hope is not real, what are we doing this for? What is the end game? Because somebody has to benefit from us working and doing all these things, because otherwise, if the pandemic was planned, they had opportunity to wipe us all out. They didn't. Some of us are important, other because we're still here. All these, there's holes in all these other conspiracy theories. Obviously, we as human beings are needed for something.
Why do we have to be needed for something? Of course we do. I mean, we all have purpose. Well, the illusion of it. But
do we need to have 8 billion people? Can we not just survive with a select few?
Yeah, of course. You want to go in perfect perpetuity with the Earth and talk about the Georgia Guidestones, 500 million people around the whole world would be perfect, I think. That would be beautiful. But it's not going to happen. I'm not saying it won't, but I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime. But if you think about it, there's been how many extinction level events that have wiped out mankind? It's going to happen again. Yeah. And we're going to be in the Stone Age if we're not careful. I think we're doing a lot of stuff to protect ourselves from that. And we have the technology to go off planet, maybe to Mars, the moon, and survive an asteroid that may hit Earth or Yellowstone erupts.
Are we doing that because we're told, because we know, or because we just as a human race have such big egos that we think that we deserve to live forever and we're not going to give up and we need to just keep living for as long as possible because we want to advance and evolve?
Don't you believe that's what people would want? That fountain of youth, a way to live forever past the 75-year minimum or average?
If they had a perfect life where they didn't have to fight for food, fight for money, fight for sustainability, they had a perfect family, sure. But someone who's struggling, living on the street, all these other things, and deprived of all these human rights, doesn't want to live forever. How is that fair to them?
Yeah, but that's the spectrum of life,
But they put a lot of resources in place to keep them going, to keep them alive, so that way, they're needed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they just let them go, and then there's left. Then there's more resources for those who want it, and all these other things. So there's a reason for us to be here. And that is our reason? Is that the government doing that, or is the government doing that? Sorry, I got playing with scissors in my hands here. Is the government working for someone else?
Well, you want to go down that road, of course. I mean, we could say that all of our government officials are just representatives of what's really the people that really run the world, however many people that may be, if that's the case. Mm-hmm. But it seems like everything has already been planned out. That, to me, like 9/11 was planned, it looked like, from the 60s, early 70s when they built those towers. And, the Pentagon it was funny how it just happened to have double reinforcement walls just built in the area where their plane hit. It's just too many things that are perfect. The $2.3 trillion went missing in a building that fell down without being hit by a plane. All this stuff was all planned out. And you can talk about that. You can talk about, 1941. You want to talk about Japanese and attacking us. You want to talk about Guantanamo Bay. All this stuff. You want to talk about JFK? All this stuff is planned out. I think JFK was kind of like written in there just because, but yeah, it's weird, man. I think that everything's planned out all the way up till the end.
So what about the possibility of time travel and
I don't believe in it.
and simulation? What are we living in is this all a test? Things change to see how the future goes?
You know what? We could be some sort of avatar or some sort of computer program, and how would we know? How would we know? I don't think we are, to be honest, but if we were, it would make sense. All the weird things that we see and everything, you could fill in all the blanks with the Matrix reality or an alien or beings coming here. That's why we do it. We're trying to look for answers for the strange things in life that don't make sense. And not only that, it's fun. It's fun to look into strange things that don't make sense. Strange monsters and caves and places in the universe. It's just interesting.
It is fun when you get those in those moments, but from the experiencer perspective, it's terrifying. Some of these people are victims of sexual molestation, abuse, missing time, amnesia, cyberbullying too whenever they come out and forward and things like that too.
Oh yeah.
So why put people through that and not provide resources to help them with that?
Because nobody can prove it, and they need something to prove to get funding to bring up those resources to help them. If you wanted the government to take action, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to prove that this is happening and people need help. But
schizophrenia is a label that's used that can't really confirm or deny the existence of talking to other people and things like that too. So
different than aliens, though.
How do you know they're not talking to aliens?
You don't. But according to people, they
have mental health resources for those who are suffering from schizophrenia. So why not provide mental health resources who think that they're abducted by aliens? Because then
exactly
we would get
what I said. Yeah. So I know what you're saying, but it doesn't work the same because one makes more sense than the other to them.
And in order to make this real, to balance the probabilities, and what makes me sleep good at night, in a sense, is if I trust the government who has the answers, either this isn't what's happening, and this is just imagination, and we're just add to our own devices and let it going on, or it's just what's really happening, and they need it to happen, and they're going to do everything in their power to prevent us from knowing because there's a purpose for it. Either way, it just is. It's just the way that it is, and we have to deal with it. And at the same time, too, it's also quite possible that we're evolving as human beings and getting better and stronger at connecting with consciousness.
Yeah, but we're not going to evolve in 20 years. Our brains aren't going to evolve to read minds of aliens or concentrate and talk to them. That would take thousands of, maybe a million years to get to that level.
For the entire world, but some of us are already there.
I don't think so.
If it's true.
It's true, it's not.
Right?
Though.
And we can't prove it not true.
Sure, we have. We've given them tests, and then they failed every one of them.
Not everyone in the world, just a select group. Right?
Well,
Whenever they do any tests, it's samples, and then they extrapolate and they make opinions, but they never test the entire world until they do other samples and things like that too. It's
that costs money, yeah.
Exactly, but for what reason and time? So either they're not spending the resources because they know it's not the truth, or they're not spending the resources because they know it's the truth and they're deflecting. But either scenarios are true and not true at the same time, and it's hard and it's sad.
And why spend all this time at Skinwalker Ranch then?
Well, why does so many people watch the show? Because they see the ads, they see the commercial. It's prime time. We're talking about it. It's bringing up. It makes people money. People are sitting at home driving that boat right now because we're watching the show. But it also gives us opportunity to educate and to learn these things. These people are getting paid to do their job. They're getting paid to do these shows. It's not for free. They're making money out of it. Can they honestly make money and then tell the truth at the same time? And then at the same time, do you trust the media company that's editing it and producing it to produce it in such a way that's factual, or are they massaging it because they want it to be entertaining so that you and I watch it, so that we also watch the commercials and then perhaps buy the product because the people pay for the commercial space? That's how they make the money from those who put the commercials in.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about generally staying at Skinwalker. It was sold to Bigelow. He stayed there for a decade, and then he sells it to a friend of his, Fugel, and then now he's there 5 years. So for the last 15 plus years, the government, through Bigelow and his cronies and everything else that he's attached to the government some way, have been at this ranch. And where's the evidence? It's a waste of time because there isn't any.
Right. So do you don't watch the show? Obviously.
I do. I have to. I watch every episode twice.
I stopped watching it. I haven't watched it in a while. I just check the rebates, check the comments.
Yeah, it's bad.
And I make my judgment from there. But
I mean,
there's a lot, if you sell a book for $1, that's not a lot of money. But if you have 1 million people interested in your book, there's $1 million.
Yeah.
Right? So they don't need everyone to pay attention to the show. They just need enough people paying attention to the show to fill their pockets. Sure. But the people that make the show need to be paid. It's got to be worthwhile. We are doing this. This is monetized. We make a couple bucks off of the show, and things like that too. Knowing that there's some compensation behind it, it kind of helps when you're, in situations like that, if money is the goal. But, it's time. People are putting time, they should be able to get paid. They're the lucky ones.
Only if they're doing honest work. I don't like.
But how do you trust that? Because if you look at the people that are doing the show, you can trust them because Brandon Fugel is quite
the
active.
Asshole. Oh,
well,
I'm sorry.
I was going to say he's active on UFO Twitter. He does talk. He does defend. He does say what he's got to do. He's involved. So if you challenge things, he does respond, which is kind of good. He
didn't respond kindly when I challenged him on something. He told me I had anger issues and then blocked me. And I wasn't even mean to him.
Well, I don't,
I don't have anger issues, Ryan.
I'm not angry about being angry.
Why do people say that?
Yeah, no, but I mean, and that's just simply them not dealing with that drama. But that doesn't mean you're right.
No.
Doesn't mean he's right. It's just you guys aren't communicating and the choice of doing that. But the point that I was trying to say is there's an attempt to try to get answers, but if they get the answers on a television show, they're not going to tell us right away. They're going to want to build a story. They're going to do a commercial. They want to do a sizzle reel. They're going to wait till next year. So we're sitting there, we're watching it, and then we're going to see it, and then we're going to look at it and be like, oh, because if it's something revolutionary, it'll be on the fucking news. And the stuff that's on the news is Jeremy Corbell talking about his drone again. That is the bokeh and all that other stuff that's been debunked. But the people, there's a whole bunch of people that are still watching that. And people may be watching the show that have no idea who these people are.
Yeah.
We're giving them power by talking about them. And then there's people watching the show and they're like, who's Lou?
Yeah.
Like, legitimately. Like, I don't know who that guy is. What are you talking about? What does he do? Oh, yeah, I saw this one thing once in a while. Like, people don't give a shit. And we're involved with this stuff because we're trying to figure out what's true so we can tell these people. So now that we have all this knowledge, right, I just want to encourage you to continue doing what you're doing and just – I see you fighting back, man. I do. I see the shit that comes your way when you speak your opinion. But you'd be a better person to just be like, peace and love, man. I'm sorry you feel that way. Have a good day. Because everyone who sees your response, there's so many people watching. I get people who troll me on Twitter all the freaking time, and I always respond saying, hey, you okay? You need a hug? Then I wake up the next day and I got like 7 followers for no reason. And it's probably because they saw me say that. It's how you respond to that. People are going to shit on us all the time. But if you respond back and be like, sure, you feel that way. How can I help? Blah, blah, blah. Because there's everyone watching and paying attention. And
I've done that before. It doesn't matter. I was the nice guy like you wouldn't believe.
Don't do it for the person attacking you. Do it for the people that need it. We need
more. What?
Do it for the people.
I cannot help but just be me, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not curtailing my personality to make you happy, just because other people are going to feel better about themselves. If I see somebody hoaxing something, I'm going to let them know it, and I'm not going to be nice. They were deceptive. They were cheating people out of a reality. that could be, it could exist. UFOs are real, and they're putting up, bullshit. I just can't handle it. I just can't.
No, and I agree. I mean, it's all there, but
people get mad at me because I became friends with Third Phase of Moon. Everybody calls them the Hoaxer Channel. They're not. They've already apologized for any mistakes they made, and I've talked about this before. I'm not going to get into it again, but how could you be mad at me for wanting to help them be more credible? They invited me to be on their panel so I can help them be more credible. Yeah, sure, it's helping them, but it also helps me too. I get more eyes on me by going on their channel too.
Yeah.
So we help each other.
But I mean,
but you're guilty by association, and I do it too. You are who your friends are, is what people say. But I was already me before I met them. It's just weird. It's a weird how people don't know. They don't know the whole story. And even though I proved it and told them, they don't listen. They ignore everything I said and just stick to their own narrative. It's amazing the bullshit that comes out of these debunkers. Right. They're the worst. They are nothing worse than a hoaxer debunker. That's worse than a hoaxer.
But then, we need a balance, though. We need to listen to each other. We need it. It could be right as well. There's association with backgrounds and things like that too. The problem is we're all fighting the same war, and we don't have the big guy from the top or lady, telling us what's right and what's wrong. We don't have any validation, and
I've been saying that forever. There's nobody policing this field, and nobody's being held responsible for anything. If you fake something, nobody's going to put you in jail. You don't automatically lose your channel for a year.
Well, we can. So if you actually go to submit a report on our website, since you brought that up, the first question is ask permission for my private investigation company to do the investigation on behalf. It's not just Tessa. It's an actual private investigating company. But if you click yes and then you move forward, it asks you 3 questions. I am an experienced here and I want to make a report. I'm an investigator or researcher and want to submit my work for review, or I'm a victim of a crime and I want to file a report. If you click that, click the, go through and then fill all that stuff out. You submit a crime, that goes to my private investigation company, and we have legal grounds to act on your behalf to contact the legal authorities to do an investigation to verify whether or not the evidence you submitted is a crime. And if it's a crime, the police will actually do something with it. You have that option. So you're calling out the shit. Encourage your people to make reports, because if they have evidence, we could keep them anonymous as well. Take that evidence and carry that all the way to the police. Let the police do their work. And if they conclude the same, they'll go to jail.
Yep.
If they're, all these other things and things like that too, we can help with that. That's how we regulate. We are trying to regulate, and we can, and we have, and we will. And we have haters too, but,
I hear you.
We're just as good as we are, So we'll leave it at that. We made it to the 2 hours. That was good and hot and heavy. We got our after chat afterwards. We're going to talk to Stacey, and we'll talk to the comments, because we got like 1 million of them. So this is going to be a good shit show. Rich, thank you so much for being on the show. It's good to have you back. Where can everyone who's never seen you before find you on your channel?
On YouTube, GUFON. It's GUFON. That's it. Giordano's UFO Network, or Greatest UFO Network. Every night, 7 p.m. Sunday through Friday, and Saturday we go